Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, today's video is all about mounting blocks for steel corrugated buildings and being able to mount these lights. So let's get to it. Problem you may run into is, well, how do we mount our lights up? We want our lights to be looking nice and centered up properly. Sure, you can place them in the center of the panel in the low rib, but that may not be where you want them. So our solution for this has been to use, yes, that's right, plastic. In this case is Nylatron. We had a ton of it left over. We actually have a couple that we're doing, and it's for a friend of ours who's in the process of his barn dominium. He's seen the idea that we did, really liked it, decided, hey, I want to do that for my building, make it a lot easier. So that's what we're going to get into. All right, so all his blocks are going to be 8x8s, going to be the same thickness we did our last ones, which is just right at 2 inches. But you can see here, we're doing 5 panels total, 5 blocks total. Couple of the panels have the center line here. Just off the short rib here is going to be in the center, and then you have these that pretty much straddles the center here. There's also a couple that are going to have the high rib pretty much dead center, and if you look at it from this direction, we're going to come in here and mill this down and this in order for this to sit in there like so. You'll be able to bolt this block to the panel without crinkling it, and it gives you a nice place to seal up to, and it gives you a good mounting block to be able to put your lights or any type of fixture that you want on the outside of that nature. So let's jump to it. So as you can see here, we're actually taking 30 thousandths a step over each time. And that's how we get this pretty smooth finish. Now, it still has a little texture to it, but not much. Folks, we're finished up. We've got all 3 of them done, 3 styles. Let's take a look. So here we have this one, which has the high rib centered up. Now we have, now we have the one that is centered up over the short ribs. Actually, it's a hair off, but that's how he's got it done. So we've got it centered up basically how he has it done. And then this one, which is pretty much centered up on that outer portion of the short rib, which actually fits this panel. So there he has this fitting. You can see these things are machined to the profile to give you a nice, good fit, whether it's this one or if we're doing the short ribbed, everything fits in there nice. So you don't have a huge gap to try to fill in with caulk, or you don't have a really rough spot to mount these lights. So here you can see us with them actually mounted up and our lights on them. This is the one that has the low rib, has the 2 low ribs on the side. You see they fit really nice, not a huge gap. Now here on the other side is one that we actually have a high rib right dead in the middle of. But as you can tell, once you get them mounted up there, they look really nice. So some of these lights actually require a pretty big panel plate to be able to mount to. Some of them are just small. So depending on what your light that you have to mount and depending on your panel profile will determine exactly what size block you're going to need and exactly where do you need it placed as far as your high rib, if you have low ribs, things of that nature, where they sit at. To actually mount these up, basically we come from the back side of the building, from inside the building I should say, screwed into and through the panel into the actual block itself. Now, depending on the type of panel you have and what thickness panel you have, it doesn't hurt putting a backing plate back there. Some of these metals are getting really thin, and if you just put a bolt in there or a screw in there with a smaller head, you could eventually have that thing pull out. So it's best to get you like a 1/8 plate, something to back it with on the back side. That way when you screw through it and into the block, you've got something sandwiching in that panel and you have less chance of it ever tearing out. So the those of you are actually wondering, well, where can I get this done at? Well, you probably could find a machine shop. Now, whether or not they're willing to take it on is a whole other story. But don't fear, because you can send me an email at livingwithcable@gmail.com, just livingwithcable@gmail.com, an email, and we'll get with you. You know, I will need a sample piece of your profile. That way we make sure we get the right profile cut for you. I'll also need to know the size of blocks you need and whether or not you need a high rib centered up or if you need it offset, however many inches offset. We'll get you taken care of. But that's it for now. We'll catch you next time.
That damn micropipe.
No, that's Steve and Dan. You got the wrong program. Oops, wrong program. Yeah, well, we may be redoing that.